welcome everybody to another episode, 1019, the Watch Commander. And we are here with Captain Mike. Captain Mike, how are you this evening?
Doing great, thank you.
Outstanding. And our special guest, JJ Williams, retired Maywood PD. And welcome, JJ. It's good to see you. And I'm Ken Roybal. Absolutely worthless to the podcast. I'm just pushing buttons. We got a new thing. We are in a new studio. We hope you guys like it. It doesn't look much different than the other one, but here's a neat trick. And where are the comments? There we go. GJ's here. And he beat Captain Bond. Captain Bond. What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. GJ, what does that mean? Who's Captain Bond?
Captain Bond and Dale Hedges is here. JJ, I don't know if you had seen that episode we did with Dale Hedges. Crazy stories he got. But
where did he work?
Yes, worked for the sheriff's department.
Oh, yeah, he actually just completed a book about the escapades and things that happened to him during the course of his career. And Captain Bob.
Captain Bob.
Maybe that's okay. He's drunk. 647. That explains it right there.
Yeah, there. He's in a real bar.
Yeah, I don't want to leave the Hedges thing hanging. He wrote a book that he finally got published after 30-some years of suffering under all this crap that he was put through on the department. And everything I've heard is it's doing great. I know he's probably sold a couple of 100 autograph copies already.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are interested, and you should be, it's called Damage Control. It's on Amazon, and it's by Dale Hedges. Look it up. You can get it on Kindle, paperback, or hardback.
Yeah.
And I should be getting a portion of those proceeds since I'm publicizing it for him here. But great piece of work, and you read it, man, it'll curl your toes.
Yeah. Look who's here, Steve Gould, JJ, saying hello to you.
Oh, hello, Steve.
Steve, God, I keep meaning to get in touch with you, man. I got to set up a time to come on to your show so we can yak about some things.
Mike doesn't care about you, Steve. He says that to me all the time and never calls me. So
you weren't supposed to say that out loud, man.
So just so you guys know, with this new system that we have where the comments are going actually on screen, the comments, actually the newest ones are on top. But on the old system, the comments were on the bottom. So if you want to keep up, your payday is coming. JJ,
I don't like the sound of that. Yeah, you're gonna get payback, pal.
JJ the Kung Fu Cowboy.
I think Steve's a little tipsy too.
So, well, real good. We've got a really interesting conversation tonight, and I'm at my bar that I usually go to, and Captain Mike's at his piano bar, and JJ's the whole state of Texas is a bar, so there's
Correct.
that. But we've got some stuff to talk about. I want to show you guys this quickly. This really cool thing. I just think that's the coolest thing ever, right there. That there. This was Mike Bornman's idea to do this. Oh, hang on for 1 second, please. Everybody, just hang on here just a second. This is the most important thing of all. Zippy.
Zippity doo dah.
Zippy's in. JJ Zippy is Mrs. Mike, and
okay.
She's in Nevada right now, huh?
Yeah. What? No. She told me she was visiting a sick relative.
She's going fishing with the boys.
Yeah, we're in Henderson right now.
Are you really at another palatial estate?
No, at another piano bar.
Oh my gosh. You're a world traveler. you go all over the place.
Which,
So very good. We want to, you know what? One of the things JJ is a man of stories. I've known him since 2006. 2006 when I went back to backgrounds, and lo and behold, JJ was already there doing backgrounds. And he, through the years, he rose up to be a background supervisor, what's called the Background Investigator 3. And he was reviewing backgrounds and just making himself a pain in the ass to everybody who ran backgrounds on the third floor. And we're going to get into when he retired and went on Fox News and just became a whistleblower, talked about all that stuff. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about Maywood PD. Let's start out with some of that Maywood PD stuff, because let me pull this up. So JJ, what's the story on Maywood? How did you get there and all that? Passe, you are testing. Hello, Passe. Test is complete. Tell us about Maywood PD. It started like in 1922 or something like that, and it went all the way through 2010.
Yeah, it's old. I mean, when I was there, we had the oldest jail facility in LA County and one of the oldest in California. It was actually ordered from Sears catalog and welded together.
Sears catalog back.
Yeah. So, no, I got there because I worked for Vernon. Actually, I started my career at Vernon, and I got to know the Maywood guys, backing them up, mutual aid. That whole area depended on mutual aid. We backed each other up, Huntington Park, Bell, Maywood, Bell Gardens, and even Southgate. And I thought I was going to head to West Covina. Then an opening came up in Maywood, and since I knew all the guys, knew the area, and knew they were receiving a big contract the following year, I said, okay, let's do it. So I did the transfer.
So where did you start out?
Vernon, right next door.
Oh, Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
Vernon was like a mile square too.
No, it was actually 5.5 square miles.
Oh, 5 miles.
It's all industrial.
Isn't that where the Farmer John meatpacking plant was?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's exactly where it was. Among Bandini fertilizer, which stunk up the whole city in the area.
I remember, I worked down in, kind of forget where we were after the earthquake. They put us in a building, and every morning I would drive on the freeway and I'd see that Bandini Mountain off the side of the highway.
It's exactly what it was called, Bandini Mountain.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Remember that? I think they had an ad where somebody was skiing down the Bandini Mountain.
I went Vernon bordered Newton Division, and
yes.
I remember going there a couple times. We used to JJ, on Graveyard or Morning Watch, which was Graveyard, we used to go over to the Norm's restaurant in Vernon
Park.
What was that?
Huntington Park.
Because we used to go there, but I remember it was right by there. And then Vernon got in trouble a few years ago because they had like 3 houses in the city, and people were making hundreds of millions of dollars and stuff like that. Do you remember that?
Oh God, yeah. They've always had mob ties, and they still do. It was a mob-ran city for many, many years. It was actually the second wealthiest city in America for the longest time. They owned 48% of the water rights that came through Hoover Dam. So all through the 70s, they lent the government hundreds of millions of dollars towards their deficit. So in trade, they got a big portion of the water rights. So they became extremely, extremely wealthy. So it was an interesting place to work. But as a cop, I mean, it was great because you learn how to ops, because there's not a lot of – Daywatch was the busiest, believe it or not. That's where most of the robberies would take place. And remember the dusters, PCP guys? Every lunchtime, we were fighting with a duster.
Man. And I remember back a few years ago, they were under the threat of getting unincorporated and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, the state would have bankrupted them. The state would have went bankrupt to try to fight Vernon. They dropped the case because Vernon actually had more money than the state of California.
Oh yeah, they have tons of money.
So there is no way the state could even afford to go to court to force them to unincorporate.
Did you ever have the sheriffs come down into Vernon and like post the city limits? Were you guys on the city limits there? Because Firestone was like on the border somewhere over there.
We weren't that close.
Yeah, we had East
We
LA.
had yeah, we had Huntington Park and Southgate on one side.
Oh, okay.
LAPD, those guys on the other side.
Yeah, I remember we used to run into the sheriffs. Uh, yeah, I
Well,
remember they were close by.
we would go where we wanted. So
Yeah, that's what I was told. I think
Countywide.
yeah, that's what the badge said. You know, the patch says LA County.
LA County, and then GJ says that we ignore city limits. The bear goes everywhere.
No, we don't ignore them, but we just, you know, they don't
Oh yeah,
exist basically.
GJ's right. They did. They were the first PD to have shotguns on the motors.
Oh, I thought GJ was high or something, and he was just shooting stuff
No,
out.
no, he's absolutely correct. Yeah.
We worked. Steve.
Steve Poles
was the chief of Vernon.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a sergeant when I was there.
And he became a background investigator.
Yeah.
So that tells you.
Yeah, he just made.
They want to go be back.
He just had made sergeant when I got hired at Vernon.
Oh, that's so cool. So how long did you work there before you got hurt?
Maywood, I got hurt in '96.
In 90.
It was March. Yeah, it was March 23rd, 1996. That was my last day of patrol when I broke my back.
96. And
yeah.
So I want to get into this this one story about a buddy of yours, John Hoagland. He got killed in a was a store robbery or something like that. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that Hoagie, he was my day watch partner before I went to major narcotics, and we had breakfast that morning. We just got done doing a big case. We had breakfast, and our sergeant cut us off early because we're booking a bunch of evidence and filing case. So a bunch of us split from the office, and then my pager started going off by the time I got home, and called the station, and they're like, you need to come back in. We had an incident. At the same time as putting on the news, and a breaking news report came on. So I said, all right, I'm on my way. Then Bush was in town because he was running for president or for re-election or something. And they had the freeway blocked off. So I had to badge the highway patrol. They saw that was from Maywood. They gave me an escort right past Bush's whole line entourage. So got down there, and there he was laying halfway in his unit. But what it was the beginning of MS-13. Basically, the El Salvadorians came over, started doing takeover robberies and home invasion robberies. And your SIS had worked a case with Maywood on a bunch of home invasion takeover robberies of drug houses that were in Maywood. And they decided to hit the store. They had an inside informant. Every Friday, they would get $250,000 into cash, the workers from Vernon's checks. So, and they knew the money was in the store. So Hoagie was coming back from Norm's, picking up prisoner food, and he was the closest to the call when the alarm went off, the 211 silent. And he got on the radio and says, all right, I'm, a few blocks away. So he said he'd take the west side of 52nd Street. The store was on the north side. Another unit was going to take the east side coming up. And when he was approaching the store, 3 guys ran from the store with guns. So his instinct was, well, I'm going to chase them. So he did. So he punched the unit. They stopped. They started shooting at his car. He stopped the unit. As he's getting out, what he didn't know, there were still 2 in the store. They came out behind him and assassinated him, shot him 3 times. And the last shot was a headshot, and that's what dropped him onto the floorboard because he was crouched down at the door seam. So he was getting ready to engage in a gun battle. So,
And how did they catch? They caught the killer, right?
well, yeah. So that was why I got called in. The detective sergeant who was heading up the investigation, that was his best friend. So we sent him home. Of course, he was a wreck. So I took over the investigation, and because at the time we were already with LA Impact, so our group was already called in, and we had two others on standby to rotate. We had 500, I think it was 500 and some odd leads that we funneled through in the next 24 hours and came up with nothing. We had 400 and some different level of officers, detectives, investigators working the case. We came up with nothing. We had zero information by the next morning. And I was sitting there in the station with the acting sergeant, and we're just pounding our heads and trying to figure out what did we miss, what did we miss. And lo and behold, we get a call from an FBI agent saying he got word from somebody that knows who killed our officer, who killed Hoagie. I said, we'll patch him through. So I took the call, and he says, I don't know what it's worth, but this kid keeps calling me. I'm at my son's Little League game. He represented the Torrance regional team that actually won the Little League that year in Williamsport. But I said, listen, we have nothing. He says, all right, I'll pick him up, bring him in. He was part of the gang, and he had been arrested, and he kept his mouth shut. And the agreement was the family would be taken care of by the gang. Well, his mother became homeless, and he was pissed. So now it's his turn to get revenge. So we showed what the robbers didn't know is there was two video equipment sets. They took the video. That's how we knew there was an inside person. They took the original tape out. What the owners never told about the workers where there was a secondary taping system. So we had the whole robbery on tape. And this guy started IDing everybody. This is Miguel. That's Jose. He just named everybody. And we were writing frantically where their hangouts were. So we got SIS. Both of their teams came in. Two of the LA Impact teams came in. We did the surveillances, set up on all these locations. We could only locate 3 of them. So we figured the other 2 made their way to Mexico. So we took the 3 down. 2 of them were the main shooters. So there was 2 shooters, the one that engaged John initially, and then the one that killed John. Those were the 2 shooters. The one that initially engaged John was brought up on charges of murder for a laundromat owner's murder that they did. So they had 46 different charges on them separately. And the 4th one was caught a year later trying to cross the border. And then the 5th one was years later. God, I want to say it was like 6 or 7 years after. Rampart crash unit was driving around MacArthur area, recognized this guy, and up on the visor, they still had Hoagie's picture and the outstanding suspect's picture with his hair long and everything, and recognized this guy with the shaved head, jumped out. Sure enough, that was the 5th guy. They actually got him. So it was a hard case to work. It was 4.5 days of no sleep. It was 24/7 working the surveillance, working the case. Thank God for Bell. They handled all the funeral stuff because we were just so inundated working this case. It was the hardest investigation I ever had to do in my life. Was working his death because instinct, you just want to kill the people, but you can't, even though you want to. But it was hard to keep the emotions when we did the raid, and it was difficult. It was very, very difficult to keep the emotions at bay. It just the rage and the anger you feel. What was unique about it is we didn't realize how much the public loved us and how much support we got. Now, 8 of the witnesses that were directly across from the market were gang members, local gang members, and they all testified against the shooters because they were pissed that this outside gang came into their city and killed one of their cops. So, it was an outpouring. We didn't realize how much the public actually cared. I mean, our station was inundated with so much food from everybody, from restaurants and people cooking for us because they knew we were working around the clock. So it was a difficult time. It was the first officer killed in the line of duty. We had another one that died from an accident, weeks after the accident. But this is the first time, and he was the first one after the riots. And it was an assassination on the stash house. We found a roll of film. We had it developed, and they actually took pictures of themselves planning the robbery on this big box. Each side of the box was like a different frame of the scenarios. And they actually premeditated if a cop came, no matter what direction, how they would run. They had little stick figures running with little dotted lines as the bullets as they engaged them in a gun battle, with the other two coming out to assassinate the officer. So their intention was to get the officer to go slightly past the store and then engage him in a gun battle for him to stop so the other two can get up behind him and kill him. So it was.
So the news said that he was shot 3 times with a 45.
Yeah, actually, it was a 9. It wasn't a
A
45.
9.
Yeah.
And you said it was MS-13?
It was the beginnings of the MS-13. What you know of MS-13 now, that was the beginning of it. That's when they.
Yeah. I remember MS-13 in the late 80s. And Mike, did you work those cases too, the MS-13?
Well, we had all kinds of gangsters down there. Most of ours were the local Florencia gang.
Florencia 13.
Well, they're all 13,
Yeah.
right? Florencia 13, MS 13. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they first started as just a bunch of long hair skateboarders smoking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they started. So, but
They weren't a threat to us. I mean, we didn't think anything about them back
no,
in
what
the
had happened
80s.
was when the El Salvadorian guerrilla fighters started coming up. Remember, these guys, they were kids when they learned how to fight in jungles. I mean, they were 12, 13-year-olds doing guerrilla war fighting in the jungles. Well, when they came over to this country, a lot of them, got dumped into the Rampart area, and that's how they became violent. They already had the violence with them, so they knew how to handle guns. They knew shooting situations. They knew some scenarios and tactics, and that's the beginning of the violence with MS-13. And when our detective sergeant and detective bureau worked with SIS, there was 19 they took down that were doing takeover robberies of drug dealers. So, yeah, that was the beginning of their violence, and it just escalated since then.
And I suppose the guy that was sentenced to death is still living and breathing and eating 3 meals a day on the state, right?
Absolutely is. You know how California is.
Yeah. Mark Stocks is in the house. Miss you guys.
Oh,
Tell us, JJ, about the Silmar cocaine bust.
oh man. World's biggest drug bust, still to this day, 21 tons.
One of the
That'd be
things I
another
wanted
story.
to mention, yeah, I guess you were saying that John was a kind of a character, and then the news reported this in the red. It says it's from an LA Times story. It says Hoagland once chased 3 armed bandits down the Long Beach freeway at such a rapid speed that he left other officers far behind. Then he got on his car radio and quipped, "It sure is getting lonely out here during a pursuit."
Yeah, he
Pretty
was
funny, man.
he really was an interesting character. Now, this is a person. This is none of us knew this about John. He was a multimillionaire, and
Huh?
we didn't know that. He was an accountant by trade, and he did a lot of investments. He owned land and stuff, but he didn't flash any of it. He, definitely didn't dress up. He drove an average car. He lived in a townhome in Doherty. The only thing he had flashy, he bought a 63 split window Corvette. That was it. But yeah, he was a multimillionaire. And we knew he had money. He's the one that lent me money for my Vernon contract when I broke the Vernon contract to pay it off. So, but funny story with John. Just his he had a warped sense of humor. Just he was a funny guy. So he was we were getting new Berettas in, and we're loading our guns, and he didn't want the Beretta. He wanted to carry his revolver. So he empties, and Mike probably knows what it is. You may know too. A dump pouch. Remember the dump pouches before the speedy loaders? So he had a dump pouch and he emptied it, and 2 clumps of bullets just hit the table, and they were all just clumped together as big wads of 6 bullets each. And he's like, "See, it still works." We're like, "What do you mean?" He says, "I dumped them out, and they're still dumping out the same." So he starts telling us about this shooting that they got into. Chased these robbers down Slauson, and his car got split in half. He actually got T-boned, and car got hit a telephone pole. Well, now he rolls out. The robbers are the ones that T-boned him. So they start shooting at him, and he's rolling out of the front end of the car because the back end's gone. Stands behind the telephone pole, and he unloads his 6 rounds, goes to reload, opens up the dump pouch, and he says they all dumped out all over the street. So he's now John is a wide, husky dude. Okay, he's about 3 times wider than the telephone pole, and he's trying to use the telephone pole for cover and slide down the pole to grab 1 bullet at a time to put in his gun to shoot these guys. So, and then that was John. It's like, but he still loved to carry his revolver in a dump pouch. He never changed. That's what he had when he was killed.
Hey, Mike, you remember those before speedy loaders? They had the flat pouches, and then they had the strips.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
And
yeah, you could load 1 or 2 at a time into a revolver. Yeah.
They were pretty clumsy, though. Speedy loaders, I thought we were just like smoking fast.
Yeah, that's what I carried when I first came on. It was 586 Smith & Wesson with the speedy loaders.
Yeah. Hey, I want to give a shout out to, there's a comment there, Flotilla 84 CDA, Brad Hooper, Bell PD. He said he coordinated his funeral.
Like I said, Bell was, if it wasn't for Bell, his funeral would have got delayed. Brad, Andy Probst, God rest his soul, they all helped out. Bell was like, Maywood and Bell were like sister stations. We worked together all the time, did a lot of work together, backed each other up a lot, really close with a lot of the Bell guys still to this day. And, they really helped out. They were transporting the witnesses to their stations, and Vernon held the traffic control for us, gathering up witness statements as well. Bell did a lot of the witness interviews for us. They were a huge support. I mean, like I said, we have over 400 officers and investigators and detectives working this case all together. And it was the support you get from law enforcement. I mean, the sheriff's department, LAPD, everybody. We had SEB, 2 SEB teams, 2 LAPD SWAT, SIS. We had Compton's bird. LAPD donated 2 birds. SO had 2 birds. We had our birds from LA Impact. Long Beach gave us their drug team for surveillance. I mean, Compton gave us their narco unit. Burbank and Glendale put theirs on standby for us. RNSP, the Orange County Regional Team, put theirs on standby for us. That's the welcoming thing with law enforcement. The brotherhood truly, truly shined. And I think that's what kept us going through all that. His funeral was the biggest law enforcement funeral until, what was that SWAT officer from LAPD? That was Simmons.
Randy Simmons, yeah.
That was the one that topped John's, but the church service was on Imperial Highway in Downey. The law enforcement line was from Rose Hills to Imperial. They were still getting on as the motors were getting off. We had police come in from Washington State, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas. They came from all over, and it was huge. By the time my wife at the time made it to the gravesite, the funeral was already over.
Mm.
So
Hey,
that's how.
Brad, I remember you. I remember you at Backgrounds. I used to
Yeah.
sit up. Used to sit up by the offices where the supervisors used to sit. I remember running into Brad
Well, he'd
over at
sit up there because
Backgrounds.
he always thought he was the boss. He always thought he was the boss of everything. That was the thing with Brad.
The boss of
Yeah,
Backgrounds. But,
he was the boss
oh
that
yeah.
didn't do anything.
Yeah, I remember him for being up there. I want to ask you about. Hey, Mike. Um, I'm hoping you let let the rest of us talk. I know you're talking a lot and all that's very exciting, but
I'm just giving it a rest, brother.
So I want to ask you about this. What happened? There was all kinds of stuff floating around um, about Maywood PD. Dispel all the rumors. What's going on with Maywood PD? They would say that officers would go there. There's a big LA Times story. Um, what happened with Maywood PD and how come they got disbanded?
Is that for Mike or me?
That's for you. Why would
Oh,
Mike know about Maywood PD?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know,
You're saying Mike's talking too much.
man.
I'm gonna let him.
Don't ask me about what happened with Maywood, man.
Actually,
Mike knows.
the, they went downhill in the 2000s because of a chief they hired that shouldn't have been a chief. Political reasons he was hired. Made a deal with the council, and so he got promoted. And he started bringing in friends of friends, uh, and they were doing fictitious backgrounds, believe it or not. And I knew the private investigator at the time who was doing the backgrounds. He tried to get hired with us too, believe it or not, Ken. He came down for a
Oh,
job with us. But he did fictitious backgrounds on all these people and lied and got him in. And Post had no idea. So when the new chief, when he left for Southgate and the new chief came in, he found all this out. And Post said, "There's nothing we can do. They're past probation. There's nothing you can do." So he called the FBI and said, "Hey, we have some undesirables here that had fictitious backgrounds done that aren't technically eligible to be police officers. So some had arrest records that weren't checked, and so it just went downhill. Finally get this chief in, and it just became too costly for the city. It's a little city, doesn't have much industrial support, not a large tax base. It's a very poor city. I think Cudahy is probably a little bit poorer, but that's it. So they just didn't have the money to support it, and they figured, well, it'd be cheaper just to go with sheriffs and not just deal with all the political ramifications, having this department, the FBI coming in to investigate. So they decided to close it.
what was the what was all the scuttlebutt about Maywood being the Department of Broken Toys and all that? What was
Well,
all that
that was the
about?
thing is when they were bringing these people in, they had gotten fired from all these other departments for illegal activities, misconduct. But because they were friends of the chiefs or relatives, he was bringing them in. But knowing their backgrounds, couldn't bring them in unless you lied. And that's what they did. So the PI knew the chief from back in the day. The PI's brother actually worked at Maywood at one time and retired from there. And so they just set up a little business of fictitiously submitting these backgrounds in and getting it okayed. And I don't know how they got past the fingerprints, that's for sure, but somehow they did. But that was the big problem. And so they were just bringing in whoever and from wherever. You remember Hawaiian Gardens, Mike, when they tried to start up?
I remember Hawaiian Gardens. I don't remember them getting too far down the road with
Yeah, they
trying
tried
to
to
do their own,
bring
though.
up a lot of ex-cops that were fired, felony cops, to bring them in. They never got fully post-certified, but and that's what was happening to Maywood. And it was sad because at one time, when I went to Maywood from Vernon with my whole 2 years and 2 months on, the average seniority was 20 years plus. So it was a bunch of old salts, but that year, 9 people got retired out on medical. So, we went from a very, very senior department and just started dwindling down from there. So, it was sad. It was sad to see them close. It was fun back in the day. It was what we used to call the last cowboy area, was southeast area of LA. It was fun times. It was the beginning, high end of the cocaine drug trades and the Sinaloan crew cartels. Mike should know this name, the Beltran family, and their Tegas and Garcias. So it was,
Beltran.
yeah, it was a fun place to work. Like I said, the brotherhood is still strong. We still get together. The Southeast area group, we're on Facebook as well. We get together once a year, or try to. I haven't been to the last couple because I moved to Texas, and they always do it during my New Orleans trip too, so that always interferes. But
That chief that was in that picture was Randy Adams, right?
Yep. Yeah.
was that?
And didn't he?
That was Randy Adams, the
Randy
chief of
Adams?
Bell at the time.
Yeah, that was Bell.
And then he went. And then he, I know, but they showed him the picture. Why was he offering to help Maywood?
I think they were going to try to take over the city because Bell once patrolled Cudahy and Bell, so maybe they were trying to pitch to take over the city and patrol for them. So
Yeah.
that could be.
Come to Bell, California Police. You too can make $400,000.
Yeah, that was another scandal. But I'm going to answer GJ's question. Way back in the after I promoted to sergeant, I think that was in '94. The council wanted to go to sheriffs. We're in phase 2, and I actually voted for it. I was going to give up my sergeant's stripes to become a senior deputy, and they said that you'd get a choice of location. So I wanted to work Walnut Station, which is, I lived in Diamond Bar at the time. I was for it, but no, I didn't. I was already retired in '96, so that was the closure was way after I was gone. Most of the guys I didn't even know. There was only, I think, 2 there at Maywood that I actually knew.
Mike, how come you weren't the chief of Bell?
They just, they didn't think I was worth the money.
He wanted 500,000.
I remember that because I think Randy was chief of police of Glendale.
Yeah,
and I met him there for some reason. I don't remember why. I was in his office talking to him, but next thing I knew, he was making almost $500,000 going to this little dinky town, and that ended up blowing up in everybody's face too.
Oh man. He didn't go to jail either. Somebody went to jail. I don't remember.
No, because if the city's willing to pay, I mean, it's not his fault they're willing to pay.
Yeah, I think this city manager isn't going to be a city manager anywhere in the world anymore. But yeah, they were paying some pretty exorbitant salaries.
Rizzo was a character, anyways. A lot of talk he was into little kids too at the parks. So
Dave Elsas says he knows you from Diamond Bar.
Uh-oh.
That's not his full name, but
no.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing you're in Texas, JJ.
Uh-oh. He might have some stories.
Hey, Dave Alsace, welcome back, man. We haven't seen you in a while, but welcome back, my brother.
Yeah.
Good to see you. I kind of like it. I kind of like this where you guys can actually see the comments that are coming up. Here's a future question for another show. How the hell did we lose Santa Fe Springs to Whittier PD? What? I don't even know what that is.
I would say, how the hell do I know?
I don't even know. Oh, you have a friend, JJ.
Oh, I wonder if that was my neighbor 2 doors down. 2 or 3
Maybe.
doors
They're
down.
laughing and drinking and having a party. Yeah. Well, it sounds like probably was, huh?
It could have been. There was a deputy that lived a few doors down from me after I retired. And I met him after I retired. But I wonder if that's him.
We don't know.
I'm sure he'll tell you in a second.
Yeah.
Maywood PD. Maywood PD. I didn't know anything about Maywood PD, and then they got in the news, and then all these news stories. So LA Times, which has a habit of jamming up police departments they don't like, they were on the warpath for Maywood PD, right? That would be
I don't know it during that time. I mean, like I said, I didn't really stay in touch with with Maywood because most of the people that I knew were already gone and retired, or left for Bell and Huntington Park. Most of the guys that I worked with transferred out way before all this. So I know most of them went to Huntington Park and Bell. Some went sheriff's department as well, but like I said, there was only, I think, 2 left at Maywood when it closed that I actually knew.
And where wasn't Maywood also? Wasn't it Maywood Cudahy, or was that?
No, Maywood used to patrol Cudahy at one time too. They had Cudahy.
Yeah, and then it became Bell Cudahy.
Well, it was Bell Cudahy, then it went to sheriffs, then it went to Maywood, and back to sheriffs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were at LAPD Backgrounds for a good long time, from 2001 to 2021.
2002, April 2022 till 2002 to 2022. I went 20 years in one day.
I remember being there since 2003 up to 2018, and you just couldn't help piss off those people on the 3rd floor at Backgrounds, because you were telling them, like, 2023, after you retired, you went on Fox News with some other people and whistleblowed the system. And look at that picture on the right, man. Who's that young man in that ID card?
I know. That's back in my fighting weight. I was getting back in the ring again. So, I actually was in shape. Back. Yeah.
You look like a child there.
I was. All the gray hair was because I was your boss.
Young as me, like herding cats. So what happened? So we're going to get into this for a half a minute, but there's been a lot of departments that have had problems with their background units. LASD got into trouble when they absorbed the county police, and they had to rush through a bunch of backgrounds there, and some other units that have had problems with the hiring nowadays more than ever. But LAPD's been corrupt since forever, and you blew the whistle on him. What was that about?
No, I mean, they actually approached me. LAPD did, and it was their union.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how they got in touch with me. They found out, I was a prior supervisor, and they asked, would you be willing to talk about this to a reporter? And I was like, yeah, I have nothing to hide. And I was proud of my stint there. And so Gina got a hold of me, Gina Silva, and we did a pre-interview, and she picked my brain, told her everything I knew and what was going on there, what they were trying to do with the DEI hiring, and some of the shortcuts they were trying to take that violated post and all of that. And so she's like, okay, let's do this. So I was like, let's do it. My intention was just one thing, to let it known so they can never say we were never told, because that's their famous line. Nobody told us. We didn't know anything about that. Well, they were told. They were told of the problems. We've been telling them for years and years internally that this is the first time they were put on notice, and now they couldn't retract it. They were told, on the media nationwide. So, so whatever happened from that point is on them. They were told that they have issues, and apparently they do, because LAPD took it back over.
Yeah, they were just in the news within the last few weeks. LAPD is taking backgrounds back from personnel. They're also canceling the polygraph test,
Big mistake.
and so they're doing something. They've watered down the process quite a bit since you and I started, and certainly when I was there in '97. So things have changed, but stand by for more changes to come up. So that's interesting. If anybody has just Google uh, JJ and Fox News, and it'll come up this story. But on to important things, JJ. How's Texas?
Free. Free.
Texas is Mike.
I mean, the stress level out here is so minimal. Everybody that I talk to, there's 9 neighbors here from California, and we all say the same things. When we're back in California, stress level increases dramatically, and it's refreshing to be out here, to taste the freedoms. I mean, you go to living spaces, furniture shopping, you get beer, wine. You go to the Harley, go shop for a bike, you get wine, beer. You go shopping for a car, they'll give you can drink there too. It's great. So
Texas is free.
it's great. I mean, where else can you go shop and get beer as you're shopping and drink it?
Oh man,
Yeah, a lot
that's
of
pretty
the
cool.
local stores hand out free beer as you're shopping too.
What made you leave beautiful California, though?
California is beautiful. It's probably the most beautiful state in the union. Definitely in the lower 48. I mean, Hawaii is beautiful to visit, but California has everything. But I got worried about the politics there, definitely. But number one concern was the stress. I mean, the impact traffic trying to get anywhere, even on a weekend. To go from where I lived in Upland to my daughter's in Irvine, it would take an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes
heck
on a
yeah.
weekend. It was getting ridiculous to get around to vacation anywhere. It was just, you spend, 30 year vacation time trying to get through traffic. And then Prop 13 worried me if they were going to get rid of that. The last vote, it was close, 46 to 43. If they got rid of that, you know how many people would lose their homes? And me, getting retired, and my wife's going to retire shortly. I mean, how long could we last if they get rid of that? And that worried me tremendously. So I love Texas. I actually wanted to be a Texas Ranger at one point when I worked at Vernon. And I've, always admired the Lone Ranger as a kid. Thought I could be the first Asian Ranger. So I was going for it. But
First Asian Ranger.
yeah, then I was on a business trip out here in 2000 and fell in love with the hill country. I'm not going to tell you it's beautiful. It's really lousy. It's crummy. The water's horrible. People are not. No, it's just.
Don't come.
It's beautiful.
It's terrible.
Yeah, don't move here, please. Don't move here. Go to Idaho.
That's Idaho's free country too.
Kind of, but it's getting packed up there too and expensive. Californians ruin everything. I mean, look Washington. Look what happened in Washington in the '90s. A big influx of Californians.
Yeah, it gets busy there, but well, I'm glad you like it there. You miss police work?
Always. It's something I fell in love with. My nephew's thinking about. He's pursuing it now back in Cali, Northern Cal, and we've talked. And I told my sister, I can't tell him not to do it because it's something I truly loved. I was in the private sector in business. I had my first company when I was 19, but I actually fell in love with it. I went to Vernon because it was slow, so I could still work with some of my clients, but I fell in love with it. I loved it. I mean, working major narcotics and intelligence was definitely my highlight of my career. Loved that. But it was the brotherhood, I think, is what keeps you there. Um, when you talk to the guys, you may not see them for 5 years, and you run into them, and it's like you do them all the time. Not that you didn't miss a day. So
It's awesome.
it would, yeah, I love the brother, and I think that's why a lot of us stayed at backgrounds together too. So, uh, we had an eclectic group down there at one time that was really good.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm glad that you're having a good time in retirement and all that. And Texas is agreeing with you. A lot of people are moving all over the place, and Texas is one of those places, man.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. Mike, do you have anything else?
I don't. I got nothing.
I
You
got
know.
nothing.
Well, I'm actually kind of halfway involved with this other thing that's going on with the sheriff's department right now that I'm just getting into with some other criminal misconduct that people are involved in.
Sheriff's Department. They had, we haven't discussed the Sheriff's Department. I don't know, JJ, if you heard about this. There was some, the feds arrested like 5 former sheriffs, or it wasn't all 5 were former sheriffs, but LASD people, and they were strong arming some. Was it Chinese company or was doing something, Mike? I can't remember what it was.
Oh, it was some wealthy female Chinese businesswoman, I believe.
Really?
And
Extortion?
they
Yeah,
were they were extorting her and well, allegedly. I mean, that story disappeared pretty quick after it first came out,
yeah.
so we have to wait and find out. But you know,
Wow.
some people are their own worst enemies, man. I don't understand it.
Yeah, the feds got involved and arrested these. At least 2 of them, I think, were former LASD. I think they
Yeah, I
might have
think
been
so.
retired. But bad juju when you start doing that type of thing, start extorting people and going to their houses and roughing them up and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why people do stuff like that.
Well, I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
I, I was just going to say that the sheriff's department would do something stupid, and then I'd go, "Oh my God, we're never going to get over this." And then LAPD would do something stupid, and we're like, "Yeah, we're out of the woods." But then 2 months later, sheriff's department would do something stupid, and then LAPD would do something stupid. There's always something, man.
Yeah.
Like Rosanna, Dana. It's always something.
What's Dave talking about? Leftovers from Baka Tanaka. Baka Tanaka.
He's probably talking about the people that are former deputies that are involved in that thing. I don't know.
Man, I just don't get that. I remember back in the 80s when LAPD officers they were hitmen. They got hired to kill people. There was Bill Leisure who stole yachts and killed people, and there was the Hollywood burglary ring, and all these things that cops get involved in. They just can't. Sometimes they go big or go home with regard to criminal activity.
Yeah,
But
I was going to ask
that's
Mike if he knew Sobel and that crew when they took over.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I ended up knowing Sobel. I worked at Big Spender Task Force for a freaking year at least, till it almost killed me, and I had to get out of there. But one of my best friends in the world at the time ended up going down behind that. So
Wow.
yeah, it's just incredible. I just don't know what they're thinking. People always ask, back in the academy, if you got a rental car and there was $1 bazillion in the trunk that somebody had left, what would you do with it? And I go, I'd turn that shit in, because if I took a nickel, I'm the one who would get caught. That's my luck. So it's not because I'm this really nice guy, really totally honest, but I don't want to go to the pen. And I always walk the straight and narrow. I always try to do the right thing. A lot of it out of fear of getting caught doing the wrong thing.
hmm.
Even today, man, my wife will go ahead and drive over that thing. It doesn't matter. And I know, baby, you drive and you do it, because if I do it, I'll get caught.
Oh,
That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember I had a
We
drug case, and Sobel came in as the defense expert witness. So,
Well, he
You gotta-
sure was, wasn't he?
yeah, he
Who was
sold
it?
to the dark side.
Mark Stock says, "Don't forget Christopher
Oh,
Dorner."
what a yay-hoom that clown was.
I talked to someone who was very intimate about that case, about him getting hired, and he was DQ'd.
No, he was. He was
He had,
DQ'd by Dave Combs.
yep.
That's who
And then
DQ'd him.
personnel sewed his head back on, and then all that happened, and now all these years later, LAPD is going to take over because personnel should not be there. But it sure is good to see Mark Stocks, though. I'll tell you that, Mark. So good to see you, brother. So, but yeah. Well, this has been a good night, Mike. You have anything you want to bring up about the future or anything like that? You want to talk about the election? What do you want to talk about, Mike?
Oh, don't get me started on the election, man.
Everybody, don't get Mike started.
I would, right? I would just turn this show sideways, and it would take another hour because there are some people that are running for office that stand there and lie bald faced to you. And I'm just going to hit on this. People know where I'm coming from. Project 2025.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Hakeem Jeffries says it's Trump's, and Kamala says it's Trump's, and Biden or whoever writes for Biden says it's Trump's, and
Walls.
Trump has said a bazillion times he has nothing to do with it, and they don't care. They're hoping that people are going to be low energy, low knowledge, low information, low IQ voters who are going to say, "Oh, that's bad. I'm going to vote against him because he's bad." And it's like, do they really think people are that stupid?
Yeah, some people
Maybe they
are.
are. Maybe they are. And that's the sad thing. Having been in law enforcement, the three of us for like over 100 years combined. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are stupid out there. But one thing that I wanted to say about next week is we're going to have Sonia Montejano come on, and she'll be fun to talk to. She's got a law enforcement background, and now she's on TV, on a weekly show, probably on daily. I don't know, but it'll be fun getting her perspective on things.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good show. That's gonna.
Oh yeah. Hey, Dave, we all know that. That one of the founders, one of the writers of that 2025 came out and said Trump has nothing to do with it, and I guarantee you that right now I can log on to X, and there'll be those same boneheaded lying jackasses who say Trump's Project 2025. And it just doesn't go away. Hey, Sonia. Hi.
Hey, Sonia. I get to meet Sonia next week, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it'll be a fun meeting with her.
Sonia, I'm going to go ahead and comb my hair and all that kind of stuff. And so,
take a shower.
Take a shower.
Put on a clean shirt.
Clean shirt. JJ, you got to watch us next week. Also, there was a what's his name? Walls? Is that his name?
Walls,
Mike Walls.
yeah.
No.
Mike Walls. He does this stupid commercial where he's talking about, let me work on my pickup truck.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna
changing the clean filter.
I'm going to take a clean filter out, and I'm going to replace it with a clean filter.
I think he's just displaying toxic masculinity myself.
That's right.
Toxic femininity. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ken, but
and he talked. He's under his hood doing this stuff that nobody does because it's so stupid. And he goes, "Yeah, and you know what? Project 2025, Trump's project." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys, give it a rest."
They are so freaking. They're just deceitful. And I have noticed that female who's running against Trump, she's actually starting to lose ground again. And that's good, especially in the battleground states. Man, I pray every day because she's a total bubblehead, and it's like, what do you think about Putin invading Ukraine? Well, I grew up in a middle-class family, and I have dreams and aspirations and wants and desires, and I'm going to have Mr. Walls show me how to change a tire on my car.
It's going to be awesome.
Anything else I can do? It's just, oh my God. It's just, it's not even partisanship. It's like, do you want the one with the brain or do you want the one without the brain?
Well, they're going to sell say whatever they want. I mean, I tell people this. I had one of my business consulting gigs with a company that was ran by Scientologists. That's who they remind me of. They will lie to get whatever they need to get. And it's identical to them. And it's just that way. They'll smile and pretend they're your friend in front of you, and meanwhile they're planning to kill you behind you. And they're lying to your face the whole time.
Did you guys see some of those answers she was giving on the Oprah thing? And some young couple goes, "What are you going to do? We can't afford, they're basically saying they can't afford to live." And she goes, that's a problem. Everybody is having a problem with that. I'm like,
yeah. Well, and I like what Walls did. He goes and he's on the stump speech. He's going, "We can't take 4 more years of this." Just like, dude, it's you.
Did you see that?
You've been here doing the 4 years.
Yeah, he didn't realize
that. Go back to my car.
Yeah, it's been Biden and Harris's 4 years, you idiot.
Let me show you how to change a spark plug and forget what I just said.
And she's gonna fix what's happening now.
Yeah, but she said it wasn't broken. She sat there and said it wasn't broken before Biden dropped out, and now fix what wasn't broken.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
They did, man. Oh my gosh!
All I have to say is this, Ted. I hope you have thousands and thousands of NRA listeners, because they need to vote. They need to register and vote.
People who are informed and have a brain need to do some voting too. Oh, hey, and anybody that's out there that's not subscribed to my show, please subscribe.
Yeah.
I got to get more than Ken has, because I'm just feeling a little unloved
right now.
But
but
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nope. Go ahead.
I was going to say that, Mike, you guys if you're on here watching this and you're watching it from my channel, head over to Mike's channel and subscribe, because I'm going to tell you right now, my channel got over 1,000 followers subscribers. And now I think I've made $1.70, maybe, creeping up on $2 in monetization. And Mike,
I want my cut, man.
Yeah, you know what? You too can be part of the American dream, because you were brought up in a middle-class family.
I was.
So.
It's funny because Kamala just wrote something, or whoever, knucklehead writes her things on Twitter. But my first priority is going to make everyday items cost less. Well, what the heck you been doing for the last 4 years?
You don't care.
Making them cost more.
Yeah.
It's just, man, it's just.
It's really sad, because all you have to ask her is, how are you for this? How are you going to give $50,000 to every new home buyer? Where's that money coming from? Taxes? But you say you're not going to raise taxes. So how are you going to afford all?
Well, they're not going to raise taxes on anybody unless they're making more than 50 cents a year.
Yeah,
I think
basically.
Tax, but that's what's going to happen. They're just going to tax the crap out of people until there's no more crap to be taxed. It's
Look
madness.
At California.
Tiring.
Yeah. It's an opportunity economy.
I can say that we do have great weather, and that's just about it.
That's about
it. I was just there in June. I did a ride on my bike through the western half of the U.S., and it is beautiful. It just, the roads suck. Definitely the roads suck.
Well, let's talk about that. They have done 3 tax raises on gasoline, so they can, repair roads. That the money doesn't go to the roads; it goes to the illegal aliens. It goes to Medicare for all. It goes for all that bullshit that their little pet projects, and they just suck that money right back out of there. And now they're talking about another tax increase on gas.
Yeah,
because they keep spending on other crap. So yeah, you're gonna have potholes and missing highway lanes and stuff, but they don't care.
No, it was horrible. You riding through Cali road-wise.
Gavin Newsom says satire is illegal.
Well, yeah. Well, and look what AOC was saying. She goes, "We got to get a handle on the press. We need a government-run press so people can't say shit that we don't like."
Thank you, Pravda.
Oh man,
Oh man, you know what?
yeah,
It's a beautiful state. It's gorgeous. Once you get even north of Sacramento in that area, start going into the redwoods
yeah.
and all the North California, different state altogether. Well, man, there, JJ, there you ran up the coast and stuff like that. Northern California is absolutely rivals the Pacific Northwest
Oh,
in
it's
that group.
beautiful. I've toured the redwood. I went through all the redwood forests. Toured the coastline. I love Sonoma Valley. That's one of my favorite spots. That and Murphy's area in the central Sierra Range there on the western side. Those are two of my favorite spots in Cali, and I've ridden my bike all through that western area. And like I said, California is, to me, is the most beautiful state in the union because you have everything. You have the mountains, you have the beach, you can ski, you can surf, you have the desert, you have all the climates anywhere in the country. You have the farmlands, plateaus. You have everything, but they just ruin it all. And the dumb voters. Dave's right. It is dumb voters. People, the headline voters. They only read the headlines. They don't dig and look for substance. They don't want to read or research the truth. My wife and I were having this discussion. I'm impressed with the younger Republican Party because you look at Vic and Candace and all of these people and Shapiro. They're intelligent as hell. I mean, they're freaking intelligent. They do their research before they open their mouths, and they have depths and depths of research to prepare for people answering back or firing back questions. They're prepared. Look at Kamala.
Yeah,
Not so
yeah.
much.
Vivek is something to watch,
Yeah,
man. That kid is really
Guy's
sharp.
smart.
yeah, yeah. He's
Take Flight
impressive.
wants to know if are we still
Yeah.
taking questions? Yes. Go ahead and post
Did
your question.
what? Did we ever take questions here?
Send your questions to us.
Do
We
it.
will
Bring it
answer
on.
them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm liking.
JJ, I mean,
Huh?
I was I was going to say we live 15 minutes from the south gate of Yosemite, so
Ooh.
that's where we stay.
So you know
We just
Angels
have to go
Camp,
over here and
Murphy's.
yeah, Fish Camp,
Yeah,
Tenaya
love that.
on the way up there.
Area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually
yeah,
looked at property. I was going to buy 12 acres right outside of Angels Camp, but you know what? Glad I moved to Texas.
Yeah, there's been a couple of tough fires up there too around Angels
Oh yeah.
Camp the last couple of years.
Oh, look at Northern Cal.
I'm a
Or
little
Paradise. Somebody's telling people
oh,
don't build in
Paradise.
Paradise. 3 fires.
They,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
Paradise resurrected. I just talked to someone who's I think their husband works there, so I know they're back in business. But I'm uh, I'm a little concerned about California with the earthquakes again. What's up
Yo, have
with
you
that?
noticed the South Bay, Santa Monica? They're getting rattled. There's something gonna be popping up here. Something's settling. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's been a number of them.
Jeffrey, I don't know what the status is on Massachusetts not doing the polygraph. Did they stop doing the poly or they just didn't do the poly? And Elliot is here. You guys, let's talk about this for a second. If it hasn't been discussed, any last minute predictions on the next LAPD chief? Anybody got any idea?
You know what? Some people say Arcos. I'm just going to stick with Imada Tenegrides until proven wrong. Um, to me, I mean, she's the BFF with the mayor, and the mayor wants to have somebody who's inside, who cares about the troops and their well being. I think both of those two are highly qualified. I'm just going to give that little extra kick to Imada until proven wrong. I guess she's supposed to make a decision by the 30th. What is it now? Oh, within a
24.
week. Yeah, within a week.
Why Why is it such a secret though? Why is it they catch them? They had an article in the LA Times that's saying that that these Bobby Arcos and Tingrides and McDonald were seen at the mayor's house.
Mm-hmm.
Like wow, you know
Party
what
time. I think
what?
McDonald's just there as a show. I don't think he's going to get it.
Why?
But
Why would they put him in the top 3 though?
well, you got a Hispanic, a black, and a white.
Where's the Asian?
Well, the Asian right now is the acting chief.
Yeah, but why isn't he one of the 3 finalists?
Well, because he probably had an agreement that they would not make him chief, and he would just be interim.
Yeah, we always get this.
I don't know what
I
don't know what good this is. Go ahead.
No, I just said we always get screwed out, the Asians, just because we can't drive.
We can't drive. Here's a question, and this I'm not sure what this. I thought this was put to bed many years ago. Are you talking about the 5-year contract? I think they went to court and they decided that was not legal, and they haven't done that for 20 years or something.
Oh, is that when they were trying to force people to stay for 5 years?
Yeah, remember, Ken, they did that. Remember how everybody was vacating under parks? So they implemented this 5-year contract, and it was totally illegal when I read it. Because if you look at the law, and Vernon was the case law that was the contract was based on, and went to court and was all upheld all the way to the appellate court. But you have to list every dollar that went to training and what the value is. They just put it around about dollar amount, and you can't do that. You can't do that. It's an arbitrary contract at that point. So it was invalid, and a group of officers fought and won. So yeah, we could remember we used to have the candidate sign it, then we stopped, and that was about 2016,
that's right.
2017 we stopped, where because the court case that went through.
Yeah. That one was taken care of. They decided it was illegal to do that 5-year contract to try, and now people just join LAPD. They get the training. They're there for a couple of years.
Yeah, it wasn't that the contract was illegal. It was invalid. It wasn't a valid contract because they didn't specify the exact dollar amount that went to training.
You're probably correct, JJ, but it's my show, so it's
okay.
Right.
It's an illegal contract because it was written by illegal aliens.
Flexing host muscle, engage. Okay. This 19B enumerates that it is unlawful in Massachusetts to require or administer a lie detector test as a condition of employment or continued employment. Yeah. I guess it's illegal in Massachusetts. That's all I'm getting from that.
Well, it's pretty deep blue over there. That's probably why.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, the problem I have with LAPD getting rid of it is, I mean, I battled more when he was a deputy issue when he first brought it up, and that's when they started letting people that failed poly through. That was his remedy, because the police commission wouldn't let them discontinue it. Is we were averaging 8 to 13 pedophiles being caught with the polygraph a month. Just that alone. Do you want to be responsible for letting them through now? Because that's how many on average per month the polygraph would catch.
Well, if you're talking about LAPD and LA County Sheriff, people coming on, staying a couple of years and leaving, I would think that actually points toward management. And if they would treat their people better and support their people more, people wouldn't be inclined to want to go to that next little shiny place on the hill. Because when I was growing up, man, LAPD, I grew up in their area. That was the bomb. And then the sheriffs, man, the 2 top agencies in the country, and now they treat their people like shit. They treat them like they're liabilities instead of assets. And it's just all these probes and all this crap going on. It's like that deputy, he looked at me sideways, and I think he was thinking that, I'm gay. And it's like, well, let's look into this and let's fire that guy. It's just, it's horse hockey, and it just gets sickening the way they kowtow to what I consider to be the fringe. We have fringes left and right. But this the fringe is taking foothold in our everyday thinking, and somebody's got to step up and say no. And I hope whoever the new chief is going to be somebody that just says, no, I'm going to support my people and, blow off.
So this is Passe says his son is on LAPD. It's between McDonald and Tingreedy's.
I would say the best that he has, Passe, is the rumor from the guys, because nobody can get inside that head of Karen Bass but Karen Bass. So we'll see. We'll see. I would hate to see McDonald passed on to those guys because
he
was
there.
just, I know. And he was a dud with the sheriff. He was a dud with Long Beach. And he's going to be a dud, going back to LAPD.
I didn't know the guy, but what I heard was when he got passed up for the LAPD chief the first time, people were sad about that because apparently they liked him when he was on LAPD, and then all this stuff with the sheriff's department that really threw me off because I don't know him, but
I think his biggest mistake with the sheriff's department is he was trying to make it like an LAPD, and they're just not.
They always do that.
You're exactly right, and LA County Sheriff's is not LAPD.
Exactly.
And the Titanic was hitting the iceberg, and he's worried about what color the buttons are on your Sam Brown.
McBuckles.
Yeah, and he just, he didn't mesh. I mean, that's the bottom line. He didn't mesh. He came in like an LAPD bureaucrat.
No, Ken's right though. He was well liked. And I know a lot of the troops wanted him to be the chief, instead of Beck. So that was a shocker to a lot of people that he got passed over.
Well, maybe Bass will give it to him this time, and he'll be able to play in the sandbox over there. Yeah.
But JJ, you're right because in my experience, whenever an LAPD goes to be a chief somewhere else, they always piss off the department that they go to because they're trying to make it a little LAPD.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
hey, you know what? Let's just switch real quick. Jimmy's got this question that I'm reading here. Yeah. I'll tell you what. My understanding is that Mayor Adams had his home searched by the feds, and is behind the P. Diddy case. And I'll tell you, there are going to be people going to the pen behind this. And I think that Mayor Adams is probably wishing he hadn't used all that baby oil. But we'll find out. But, there was the other guy, a podcaster, Charlemagne the God.
God.
Yeah, they hit it on the head there. It's like if you were at these freak out parties and you had yourself a whole bunch of baby oil, you could be finding yourself locked away for a while where guys don't use baby oil. And it's going to be a crazy time. I mean, I heard a rumor. This is just a rumor, but J-Lo used to go with P. Diddy back in the day.
Oh no, yeah, they dated for a long time.
And they're saying allegedly there's some video out with her and P. Diddy doing the Diddy dance, and that might be why her and Affleck broke up. So we're gonna find out. I don't want to spread any false rumors, but I know that this thing has a lot of tentacles because that dude was freaking rich and crazy.
Oh,
and I wouldn't be surprised to see Adams going down. And maybe that's why the commissioner's stepping down too.
Here's what we know so far. Adams was raided, right? His phone was confiscated by the feds, right?
Yeah.
And then Caban, his home gets raided by the feds, and he steps down. And then they insert this super agent, ex-FBI super agent, really high qualified person, and then they served a warrant to search his house for documents from 20 years ago, just a week after Caban steps down. So this guy, who's the interim commissioner, he gets jammed up a week after the other guy steps down.
Wow.
And then they have video evidence of all the chiefs from NYPD in the parking lot, because they're meeting in the parking lot because they're afraid the offices are all bugged. So this is like movie stuff. Prince of the City crap, man. It's like crazy. But what what is this? What is this?
I think he's talking about
Well, yeah, that's the one where I think P. Diddy got off and he put the blame on one of his underlings who had to do the time. I don't know there, Dave. There's suppose there's going to be a lot coming out behind that, and I can't wait. You know, I got a whole bunch of popcorn in the cabinet, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy what's going on there.
Well, I was listening to Megan Kelly's show. She's pretty smart. I like her.
I like her.
Yeah, and she was saying that the reason they've got him locked down in solitaire is so he cannot get to all these witnesses who are going to be coming forward. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Hey,
you ever
Jimmy,
listen
did you ever listen
to Sean Ryan podcast?
No.
Go
Sean
on.
Ryan?
He's an ex-Navy SEAL, but he had Tulsi Gabbard or whatever.
Oh, Tulsi Gabbard,
Tulsi
yeah.
Gabbard.
Great probably one of the best podcasts I ever heard. It's
I love Tulsi.
Podcast number 131. Listen to that. It's Sean Ryan.
Oh, man.
You talk about the inside. She tells you why she went from the Democratic Party to the Republican and all the under stuff that they do when you get elected.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Whenever I feel bad, I go to that video of Tulsi Gabbard taking down Kamala Harris during the
that's great.
Festival.
Yeah, she's the bomb. I really like her.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to tangle with her. I mean, she's heavily into martial arts. I mean, isn't she a lieutenant colonel as well or something?
Yeah, she's in the military.
Yeah.
So,
but listen to podcasts. Yeah. It opened up a lot of my eyes things that I didn't know about. That was deep. She did a deep dive into it, so it was really good.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy, do you ever listen to Sal Greco? He has a podcast, but I think he might also be on YouTube. But Sal Greco is former NYPD, and he has a lot of stuff coming out of New York as well. NYPD, but yeah, he's a good guy. Well, I'll tell you, Mike, are you? There's no steam coming off your head, so I feel like you're studying. Mike's deep in thought.
Well, I'm looking at something here that says that this just came out. Leonardo DiCaprio named by Sean Diddy Combs as his number one on invitation list.
No way. Really?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's backward, but
oh my God.
And they're called notorious white parties. where a bunch of brothers get together with white people. Oh.
So the character that he played on Wolf of Wall Street is real. The Wolf of Wall Street. That was pretty decadent as well. And DiCaprio, he likes the young women, I understand. So.
Well, yeah, you've seen them. I mean, they're all babes, right? I mean, but you figured the money has its privilege, but well, you might. Oh man,
this is crazy.
Well, you think how many people Diddy's come across in the last 20 years, and I'm sure at the Christmas party he passes out gallons of baby oil, but it's when they raided his home. When they raided his home, they found like 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Yeah.
Did you see the photos? There's like rows and rows of like these industrial strength baby oil bottles. I'm like, who needs that much baby oil? I got a skin condition.
Well, if you want to know who wants that much baby oil, you don't go anywhere near Diddy's house. Man.
No.
That's more than the porn industry uses.
So I think that Diddy's probably done. Diddy done.
Diddy done. Diddy dude. Yeah.
Diddy done. Diddy done gone.
Done.
Yeah, Diddy. He's not going to see the light of day.
You know what? That thing with DiCaprio brings to mind what's the other guy's name? The guy that did himself in the jail cell. Epstein.
Epstein, yeah.
He
This,
he had books or whatever with people's names in it, and where's that?
You'll never see that. That's
well,
with the Kennedy investigation.
that's a lot of politicians are going to go down behind that.
Oh yeah.
This one here with Diddy, I mean, there's going to be a lot of entertainers going down, and
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Yeah. I think this is we're just
Oh
at the
yeah,
beginning of it.
yeah. Dave's right about that one with Justin Bieber. I don't know if you heard that one, but
What?
it's got Diddy when the kid was like 14 or 15 years old. Diddy's like, yeah, I got custody of him for the next 48 hours, and we're gonna be doing some shit that we can't talk about. And it's just like, oh my
Oh
god.
gosh.
Now you look back at it and it's like, oh man, that was a lot more nefarious than it sounded, and it sounded pretty bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, in fact, Megyn Kelly just talked about that, and she said, Justin Bieber ought to come forward and clear the air. If he wasn't part of this, he should do it. And I'm like, if that was that kid, man, I'd be laying low.
You remember Corey
Just hope
Feldman?
oh yeah, Corey Feldman. Yeah.
The only one that actually said the truth, and he got crucified for it.
Mm-hmm.
Even on Oprah, he got crucified, but yet he was 100% correct, wasn't he? This whole time.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, they talk about this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well,
that's why I live in Texas.
yeah.
All this stuff's in New York and California.
Oh.
Yeah, no kid. Well, that'll be interesting. I'm sure that's going to be a topic of conversation one of these days on the show. But yeah. Anyways, everybody, like I said, tune in next week. We'll have Sonia Montejano on, and that's going to be pretty cool.
That's going to be fun. That's good. Sonia, I'm so excited to have you on the show and meet you. And Mike talks about you all the time. He's very high opinion of you, so no pressure.
That's right.
Pressure. So.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I heard about Usher too. Man, it's gonna. Yeah, everybody you used to listen to on in the music industry is probably going down.
Everybody.
That's what it sounds like. I mean, it's going to be pretty hefty, but I'm going to miss your show next week. That sucks.
Well, no, you don't have to miss it. You can just pick it up after it's been recorded.
Oh yeah, I'll have to do that. I'll be gone for 2 weeks.
By the magic of technology, we will live on forever.
Yeah,
that's right.
There you go.
Oh, Sonia gave you a heart, man. That's big news.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me look at that. Let me look at that right there.
You dog, you.
You're just
all right.
You're just jealous.
I am jealous. Darn it.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I hope you enjoyed this new studio that we got. I think I like it a lot. Mike likes it, and that's all that matters.
That's it. Mikey likes it. But the other thing is too, I'm really enjoying this new format of no format, where we just come on and talk shit and let the chips fall where they may.
I talk to people about coming on the show, and they always ask me, so what's the format? Are there questions? I go, we just shoot from the hip. Whatever comes up, that's what we're going to talk about.
Shoot from the lip.
Shoot from the lip.
I like it. This
JJ, thanks. I had fun with this.
Yep.
But JJ, thanks for coming on here, man, and staying up
Anytime,
late. I know
brother.
you're a retired guy, and it's 10:30 in Texas right now.
Something like that, yeah. Yep, 10:30.
Right. So appreciate you staying up late.
Holy cow! Go to bed.
A little bit.
Well,
Almost bedtime. Almost bedtime.
Made me tired.
Yeah, but I take afternoon naps.
You guys.
Yeah, ditto.
Oh man,
I used to take them at work too.
Oh, before I forget,
yes,
subscribe to Mike's channel. Subscribe.
Yeah, to heck with that Ken channel. Go to the Mike channel and subscribe to the Mike channel.
You know what, Mike? When you get when that 69-cent check starts rolling in,
I'm going to invest that stuff. Going to go to Disneyland and everything.
Buy a new air filter for your car so you can replace your new air filter in your car.
Oh, I got to look at that how-to video that Mr. Walls put out. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Those idiots.
We will see you next week.
Peace. Thanks, guys.